Present moment is the most precious moment. Do not waste the present while hoping vainly for the future. Don't forget, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. When your there has become a here, you will simply obtain another there that will again look better than the here. There is no end to hoping for a better future. Not really appreciating the present moment is a human weakness. Do not think about a time or a place in the future. Practice right here and now. Live mindfully. Meditate as much as you can and get to your mind. If you really understand the Buddha's Mahasatipatthana Sutta, you do not choose a when anymore. You will know that there is no right place or time and that you can practice anytime, anywhere. You can even do it while talking. It just takes practice. To live life meaningfully is more important that to be happy. A meaningful life is a satisfactory life. Satisfaction or contentment is a deeper kind of happiness. Those who strive for happiness only have no depth and will soon encounter suffering. The more you strive just to be happy, the more difficult it becomes to be happy, and the less likely it becomes that you will end life well. If you want to live life meaningfully, always live with mindfulness. Everything becomes meaningful if you live with mindfulness. Work with mindfulness and speak with mindfulness. Others are merely mirrors of you. This is a reminder to someone going off to the human realm. In human life, you will meet other people. How will you regard other people? Regard them as mirrors? Why do we look into the mirror? Because we want to see if there is something wrong with our appearance so that we can correct it. If you see a mistake or a weakness in someone else, imagine that you are looking at your own face in a mirror. The same kind of weakness or mistake is likely to be in you. Recognizing and correcting it would be the most beneficial thing to do. Not seeing one's own weaknesses and not correcting them, but finding fault with others is not beneficial at all. You might look at someone and say to yourself, this person is so proud and conceited. Ask yourself, am I not proud and conceited too? Pride and conceit or manner are very subtle. Having possessions can make you proud. Being well educated can make you feel proud. And some people can feel proud just because they have nothing. You can even become proud of nothing or proud of not being proud. Even people who meditate can start thinking that they are better than others and start behaving in superior ways. I have been meditating for so and so many years. I have done so and so many retreats. I am one of the teacher's closest disciples. Some are even proud when they need medication. My disease cannot be cured by ordinary medicine. My son has to send it from England since we cannot even buy it here. Medication and diseases, too, can become objects or topics of competition. In one way or another, one wants to be better. Some are also proud of their views and opinions. I don't care about anybody. I am not easily impressed. Bearing all this in mind, You should become very alert when you find fault in others. When you see them acting or talking in a proud way, remind yourself that you too have pride. Remind yourself to carefully look at your own pride. Cultivating this sort of attitude will help you develop a more mature mind. Greed is another defilement which is also easy to see in others. All of us, without exception, are greedy in some way. It is not easy to have no greed at all. There are incredibly subtle kinds of greed, so subtle that you cannot even recognize them as greed. Even when we work for the good of others, there is likely to be something we want to get out of it for ourselves: honor or prestige, some status, privileges, or some kind of authority or power. Wanting other people to think that we have little or no greed is to think highly of us. Is also a kind of greed. You should, however, not only look out for the bad qualities. When you see good qualities in others, you should remind yourself that you too have those qualities, at least potentially. We should all strive to become better and better. It can also happen that you cannot accept certain faults in yourself and therefore cover them up. If you then see the same kinds of fault in others, you will tend to be very critical. In fact, you will probably be severely critical or precisely these faults in others. So, whenever you find yourself being very critical of a particular fault in someone else, you need to bravely and honestly investigate whether you are possibly doing this because you have the same fault and have been trying to cover it up. If you really had little or no pride and conceit or manner, you would not so easily and strongly find faults with others who happen to be in the grip of pride and conceit. If you had little or no greed, you would not so easily and strongly find fault with people who are in the grip of greed. You would realize that they are actually being tortured because they do not see their own pride and conceit, greed, or hated. Sorry, hatred. You would try to find some gentle way of pointing out to them that is happening so that they can see it for themselves. You would certainly not verbally attack them, put them down, or blame them in any way. Greed, hatred, delusion, conceit, and so on are all natural phenomena. If you can see them as impersonal forces, you will never blame anyone for suffering from them. What is really important is that you actually see or recognize them. Conceit is just conceit, not his or her conceit, and also not your conceit. Some people speak very highly of themselves while putting others down who are capable and successful in their business or career. They're just greedy. I would never get so greedy and work that much. Such people actually say that because they are not capable of working hard and being successful. Very few people will say no to an opportunity to make some extra profit or to get a promotion. If they can get it, they will take it. There is a traditional saying which is often used in a joking sort of way, but which is really quite true and meaningful. The powerless are patient and tolerant. The penniless are frugal. Some people are like that. Because they cannot win, they have to admit defeat and be patient and tolerant. They interpret their fear as patience because they cannot make a decent living and therefore have not enough money. They say they are content and frugal. The truth is that you can only claim to be frugal if you actually have money to spend. Make an effort to see if you have a similar font whenever you see a font in someone else. You will actually find one. If you find something positive, something good in another person, you should check too to see if you have the same good quality. If you do, rejoice and try to further improve it. If you do not have that quality yet, try to develop it in yourself. Try to make it your own. You cannot love or hate something about another person unless it reflects to you something you love or hate in yourself. If you hate someone, try your best to find out why. Whatever makes you hate that person is something that is also in you. If you feel close to someone, if you love someone, take a close look too. Why do you love this person? Is it because she has a balanced attitude to life and is able to see the good side in people? Do you like that person because she never got gossips or slanders, and because whenever she helps others, she always does so with the right motivation? Do you have all these qualities yourself? Do you have a sincere wish to help others? And do you try to keep a balanced view on things? Do you relate to others in an honest and respectful way without looking down on them, without feeling superior to them? You should try to grow all these good qualities in yourself. What you make of your life is up to you. Never blame others when things go wrong. Take responsibility for your actions and accept both the good and the bad consequences of your actions. You have all the tools and resources you need. What you do with them is up to you. The choice is yours. There are many people who were born into poor families or into difficult social surroundings, but who have become very successful and prosperous. Two of my disciples' parents died when they were young. They were both adopted by an uncle, but had to go and live at a monastery. One has become a professor of mathematics at a university abroad. The other has become a successful and very prosperous businessman. Neither of them is very proud. Neither of them is ashamed of their background. They would say, "We have learned a lot from growing up in a monastery and from serving monks." Other people I know were born to rich parents with high ranking positions, but now their parents are no longer living. They never had to fend for themselves and were brought up in an unhealthy way. They wasted their lives boasting and spending, and ended up poor and miserable. According to a Burmese saying, if you do not make an effort, you cannot blame anyone else for your lack of success. You need to understand that unless you make an effort, nothing will happen. There is, however, no need to emulate other people. Some do well in education, others prosper in business, and yet others flourish in the Dharma. We all have to find our own way to make life meaningful and to do something that does justice to being born human. Your answer lies inside you. The answers to your life's questions lie inside you. There is no need to look outside. These are very meaningful words. You need to think deeply about them in order to truly understand their significance. There is one very old Buddhist teacher I know who has been studying the scriptures and practicing meditation for many, many years. He has a lot of monastic disciples and lay devotees, both male and female. Every day they ask him many questions. This teacher has a very kind heart and feels a lot of compassion towards them. He tries his best to answer all their questions. He gets asked for advice on many different topics: health, social relations, religious affairs, and so on. One day, however, he told them, practice mindfulness meditation, satipatthana, continuously all day long, from the time you awaken until the time you fall asleep. Remain mindful all the time. When your awareness becomes good, you will be able to find the answer to all your questions by yourself. This is a simple line, but the advice is very deep and far reaching. Many of us have lots of questions to ask. Sometimes we know somebody whom we can ask and get answers from. Other times, no one can give us an answer. Asking questions and getting answers is good, but it will not affect our minds very deeply. If you just ask yourself a question instead, and then stay with it with awareness while meditating, the answer will sooner or later suddenly appear in your mind. The experience of finding the right answer like that by oneself goes very deep. Such an answer can change one's life. When we meditate, we gain deep insights and understandings about life. We also gain deep insights about meditation itself. Just make a real effort to practice. When you become skillful, many truths about the nature of things will appear in your mind. Make use of the many potential talents which you have been cultivating over many lifetimes. They are dormant. When we meditate, our minds become peaceful and clear, and we see and understand the nature laws of cause and effect more easily. Things we did not understand suddenly become obvious. I am always very pleased when I hear that one of my disciples has had such understandings. I went through this whole process myself, At first, there were so many things I wanted to know, and I had so many questions. Since I knew no one to ask, I started making my own explorations. I began to meditate on the things I wanted to know, and some answers appeared in my mind that made me feel very happy and encouraged me to go further. It was also inspiring to understand that Dharma is life. It gave me a great deal of confidence in the practice, and I also gained a lot of self confidence. When the mind is clear, bright, and peaceful as a result of meditation, the understanding of knowledge which appears will always be wholesome. It will be right knowledge which leads to wholesomeness. You cannot possible go wrong. When you encounter difficulties, first reflect on how to bring in the Dharma. Try to be steady and cool the mind. This will not be difficult for an experienced meditator with a daily practice. Just by doing mindfulness of breathing, the mind will become clear and calm. When there is calmness and clarity, ask yourself what would be the best thing to do. The answer you get under such circumstances is the most balanced and unbiased. It would be a mistake to make a decision on what to do as long as there is strong greed or aversion. When there is strong pride and conceit, envy, or stinginess, never decide on the course of action. Anything you decide will be wrong. As long as there is greed, aversion, conceit, envy, or stinginess, etc., just honestly and bravely watch it. When they are gone, when the mind is clean, make your decision. You cannot go wrong. All you need to do is look, listen, and trust. Trust wisdom, trust yourself. You are capable of understanding Dharma deeply. If today you know a little more than yesterday, things will slowly improve. Trust this process. Trust that all you need is strong and continuous mindfulness. You will forget this. Imagine what an incredible loss this is. First, you are told all you need to know for a successful journey, but then you forget all the information given. What will happen? You will get into trouble. Quite a lot of people forget to keep asking themselves the question, why did I get a human life? Therefore, they get into trouble. They try to find some superficial happiness in entertainment and in material possessions. Then they die without having learned any lessons. Some people only grow old, they do not grow up. They do not become mature individuals. They grow older, but their wisdom does not grow. They are suffering a great loss. We only do justice to human life if we also grow a little in wisdom every day. We have been told that we will forget all the advice we were given. What can we do in order not to forget it? We should keep reminding ourselves. The Buddha and other wise and virtuous men have been reminding us. They all tell us, don't forget. A number of people told me that they can remember a past life. They said that when they were dying, They remember all the important things they had failed to do. They felt a lot of regret and made a strong resolve to do what is good and wholesome if they were reborn as a human being again. So, close to death myself once. I really wonder whether I was